Good afternoon to you all. You're on the Don't Give an Hour, and my guest is Joyce Rogers. We're gonna talk about disability and employment. We talked about the marriage penalty, talked about hidden disabilities, and this time and this subject is about employment and what needs to be done for us to work. Now, Miss Rogers, she's had a long road to get employment, but she made it because she didn't give up. She didn't give up. She kept striving. She kept pushing. She didn't let nothing stop her from getting that way. And you know what she did? She asked for help too. Sometimes we can't do things by ourselves. Sometimes you go to the right source, the right person to help us out. Miss Rogers, what's your story?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Travis, for having me here as your guest today. Like you say, my story is a long story. I had a long journey. Um, I started out with my illnesses in 2015. I suffered an aneurysm and died on my bathroom floor. I worked my way by the grace of God back through that. And that very following year, 2015, I was diagnosed with leukemia, which was my disabilities, which go along with one of your previous recordings where you talked about the hidden disabilities, those invisible disabilities. Those are the types of disabilities that I had. My disability was invisible. But the journey was long. The journey was definitely long because as I had to work my way back health wise, to get up off a sick bed, to begin to walk again, to begin to get around without a walker. All those stages, almost like a baby, going back from a baby, learning how to crawl and then learning how to walk. Then you get your faculties of your mind to say, okay, what is it I want to do? Where is it I'll go? And that was my journey. Very, very, very long. And I'm grateful, Travis, because I had, when I got to a place where I could get up, that's what I always tell people. When I was able to get up and really be able to move around, get around on my own. And I knew when I got knocked down that I did not want to stay there. I will say that. I knew that I didn't want to be disabled all my life. I knew that I was still young, no matter what my age, my number said, I was still too young to be considered disabled. So I was fighting from day one mentally to regain my life back. And so when I got to a place where I could get up, I'm up now, I'm moving around, I'm able to do, I had to assess my life and say, now where do I go from here? The good thing about disability and the disability insurance is that they do have a ticket to work. They do have a program that could really be awesome. But I found through my process, it just didn't have the right people. Because I tried many different organizations just to get my ticket to work activated. And I, being the sick person, I being the disabled person, I had to do all the legwork. I got no help. All I got was a runaround until I met you, Travis. You were that angel. And that was at a point where I believe I was getting ready to give up. I was feeling like this is my last attempt. I'm not gonna keep doing this, man. They don't understand. We're the sick ones per se. Why are we having to put out all this energy to attempt to participate in the program? that I knew you were my angel. It was after hours. You weren't even supposed to be there.
Yes.
You were there to take my call. I knew God heard my prayer because he knew I don't think I would have continued. I don't know what would have happened to me. I promise you. Had God not had you there to take my call, because you were a different kind of representative. You were the kind of representative that every program that's going to be working with disabled people, they need people like you with a heart like you have, that thoroughly understands the clients that you're going to be serving. So you were my blessing. I don't know where I would be if you weren't there. I wouldn't be right here in this chair, because that was a major part of my final comeback.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this thing is because I've gone through this. Y'all know I had strokes when I was 11 through 13. I couldn't walk, couldn't talk, walk from hospital. The doctor said that I was not gonna walk. They
Mm,
said I'm not intelligent. But you know what? I believe what God said about me. I did not believe what the doctor said about me. And that's why I do this. I
mm.
do this to let people know that there's still hope.
Yes.
To let people know that if they just push a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Push means to pray and praise until something happens. Pray and praise until something happens.
I think that's the difference too, Travis. Really, if you don't have that connection, that relationship, it's much easier to give in. It's much easier to throw in the towel, because that was the inner strength that I had. That's what came from me. But we still need, as I said, we still need somebody outside, a human that we can touch, that can step us through certain things as we travel this journey of life.
I want to say, and what were some of your struggles with vocational recruitment, with the services?
Well, because as I said, it's a ticket to work, and it gives disabled individuals an opportunity to place their ticket with the program that should be providing us services to help us get back into the workforce. The problems I had, as I said, I placed my ticket with several different organizations. It was lack of response. Certainly, they didn't provide any services, anything that I may had moved them in the area to do. For instance, like they would pay, there's money available to pay for training if you want a specialty training. And as in my case, I wanted mortgages. So I was able to get one of the organizations to get the money to pay for my licensing. But the struggle was that should have been a 1, 2, 3 process. There's money there. Here's a client interested in it. I should have been able to just fill out the paperwork. I should have been able to just been given the money. No, it was so much dormant non-activity that my stuff never moved forward. It required me, the client, to do a whole lot of follow-up. I had to call over heads. It was just, that's not the way the program is designed. And again, we're already at a disadvantage because we're disabled. So if we're going to have to exert all that energy, you can see how it's easy for people to just say, no, I'm not doing it. I can understand why people have turned away. It's too much.
And I think that's because the people serving us, they have went to school to learn about this, the schools to actually learn about disability. I feel that they need to have people working in the vocational recruitment services who are disabled,
Exactly.
because where I worked at, everybody who worked there had disability. So, and you were not called clients. You were
Mm.
called consumers. We were your peer. We were not your counselor. We weren't over you. We worked with you.
Yes, you did.
So that's what's wrong. So that's what's wrong with the issue. You
Yes.
have people who have gone to school to learn about disabilities and how to do things and, and how to support people. But you need somebody who has empathy,
Yeah.
who's gone through the process. Because I went through the process.
Yeah.
Because when I got my job, I had to call VR about 20 or 30 times, the same time every day.
I know.
I had the job. I had a job. But I had to call them 2 or 3 times, 3 times the same time every day for
I
them to approve for me to work.
see. That's what I'm saying. That it's such an awesome opportunity for people such as ourselves, whether we be permanently disabled or temporarily disabled. It's such an important program, yet that it has to be redesigned. It really does, because people are not getting the benefit of the program. They're not even taking advantage of the monies that's available to support them in getting back on their feet because of this. It just should not be so. You should not have to go over and over and over again for someone who's already setting in a position to help you. At least that's what they're supposed to do. And yet they're fumbling the ball day in and day out. This is our lives.
Yes, I'm telling you, I had to call them. I called them at the same time every day. It got to the point where I called and said, "Hey, Travis, how you doing?" It got to that point. It got to that point where I said, "We working on Travis." It got to that point. When the last time I called him, this said, Travis, I'm tired of calling. Y'all tired of me calling. Y'all tired of me calling. Support me in getting this job.
Yeah,
That's y'all job.
exactly.
You see, a lot of times we look at degrees. A lot of times we look at people who are who are we don't see the gems and the diamonds in people.
Right.
It may be up under all that coal, all that dirt,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it may take a little digging.
Amen.
It may take a little polishing up, but they will shine if you
Yes.
take the time to work with them.
Yes. I agree with you that there are many valuable souls that may be suffering right now under the label, the title of disabled or disability. However, that soul, that individual soul, have so much to give, because when life hit us, as it's hitting every one of us, there it just means we have to shift now what we were used to doing, what we could do. Perhaps we just can't do those things in that way anymore, but it just means that we have to shift our life in another direction. And that's what the resources are supposed to be there to do, to help individuals that have been knocked down hard, such as ourselves, to realize that if you have the inner strength to get up, I'll support you in your getting up.
And you know what? The immigrants who come to this country, they get more support. When they come here, they don't pay taxes for I don't forget how many years. But we who are in this country, classified as disabled,
Mm-hmm.
we have to fight for our rights.
Mm-hmm.
Something is wrong there. Something's wrong there.
Yeah.
Something's wrong there.
Yeah. It's like you said, we have to be able, because there are now, we have a large population now, whether it's permanent disabled people or temporarily disabled people. It's a large population now. And what has to happen, in my opinion, is that more of us have to move in the area of those. We, as you said, should be running the programs to help the people in our place. Why? Because it's a difference from going to school and learning how to deal with disability from those who have actually been the disabled person having to work their way back up. You're going to have different energy, you're going to have different outlooks because there were different pathways taken.
Yeah. So or maybe they or maybe they could pay people who were classified disabled as support.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
When I say as to support those who are going through the issue. You know, there's ways to get around things where we're paid enough to where we can get with the where we're paid enough to where paid enough to where paid enough to where we can keep our benefits until we can get off of it. You know, it that's what I see. What's wrong with the what's wrong with vocational rehab? You have people working now who have no clue. They have no clue about what we go through.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
They have never had to live off of 730 a month.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what it's they don't know what it's like to apply for housing and have a waiting list of 300 people to the point where you have to live on the streets
Right.
or or be in a rooming house.
Yes.
When I say or have your parents or sister telling you you lazy, you don't even. They have no clue.
No.
They have no clue about what's going on with that.
That's right. That's the truth. And which is why it's important that you do the things that you do in terms of the shows that you put on. We have to be able to bring awareness to the society at large that this problem exists. We just can't sit back and think that this communities at large is going to understand the plight of a disabled person. Again, be it permanent or temporary disabled person. We can't expect them to understand the plight because seriously, if it's real, if you have never been there, if you've never walked a mile, you don't even have to walk a mile. If you walk a quarter mile in their shoes, you just don't know the struggle daily.
You know, it's just like they have AA. They for alcoholics. That's where from alcoholic counsels another outlet. They have a gambler's numbers where another gambler where
Yes.
someone who's gambled counsel a gamble.
Yes.
When I say but why is it in our world they figure that they can serve us. When I say, I get upset sometimes when I think about that. I get so mad sometimes when I think about that.
I think because if we look at it, again, the disabled community is a growing community and it's really growing fast. But if you look at its inception on a smaller scale, it was never thought to be anything big. And even in the minds of some people, the thoughts may have been very limited to just it's just gonna be a community. Put them over there to the left. We'll just throw them whatever they need. They'll be fine to stay there. And it was, again, no people to come forward to start redesigning. Because if you think about all the programs that you just named, it was always someone such as yourself, Travis, who who saw the need for it and started out to develop it. That's what's so important about what you do. It's now time that we bring awareness, as you're doing, but also encourage now, because of the stigma. Remember, no one wanted to even talk, like, even I would tell nobody I'm disabled, especially if I don't have a physical disability. I'm not waving a flag, I'm disabled. It had a stigma to it. So again, what you're doing, bringing the awareness, is going to now allow more and more people to feel safe enough to realize that if they don't, as the disabled person, if they don't step up, if they don't care enough for themselves to step up and get involved to make changes on their behalf, things may not ever change. But I think things are changing. I do think that
Yeah.
people, especially in the disabled community, because there's a lot more programs now, are beginning to realize that, yeah, because too many other organizations are going past us. We need what they have because we live and breathe like they do. We have needs like they do. So the missing piece was removing the stigma of disability so people could be free enough to understand that before I'm disabled, I am human. I am somebody before I am disabled.
And I'm so glad you brought it up because on August 9th at 3 o'clock, I want us to come together to discuss this issue because as I said in the broadcast, it's time for us to come together as one. The blind, the deaf, the autism. We're trying to fight this battle individually. But if we come together
Yes.
as one body,
Yes.
as one person, we can make a change
Yes.
in this world. I want to say, and I have a Zoom link.
Okay.
The Zoom link, as you can see, is up there. The Zoom link, and so I encourage everyone out there who wants change, who wants better for themselves. If you have a fellow, if you have a sister who's classified disabled, if you have brothers who's classified disabled, do it for them.
Yeah.
Do it for them. If you have a child who's disabled, if you speak up, your child will be able to live this life like a normal person.
That's right.
We are people too.
That's right.
We're not aliens. We're not outcasts. We're people.
That's right.
We are people. So on August 9th at 3 o'clock, I want I want as many people on this call, on this Zoom link, that can be, so we can discuss this issue and see how to change the landscape of this country and then the world.
That's great, Travis. Now, is that August 9th? That's Monday.
Yeah.
Wow. You should have did it on the weekend. But yeah, that is awesome. That is exactly what has to happen. We have to encourage each other to be free wherever you are, because there are steps and levels to getting back up. When you've been knocked down, it's nothing to be ashamed of. So we have the power to remove that stigma of disability, because I'll give you this example too. When I was knocked down, especially, as I said, the aneurysm one year, the next year being diagnosed with leukemia. Well, the first year I did have health insurance, even though they kicked me out the hospital because they couldn't find my insurance. That's a whole nother story. It's all written in my book. But the second year, when I was diagnosed with leukemia, I really did not have any health insurance because I had just transferred from my hometown to Georgia, and I had no insurance at all, and I was deathly ill. When I will tell you that they treated me here in the hospital because I was definitely ill like a queen. They provided everything. The first line of defense was to save my life. Even though I didn't have any insurance, they knew that they had a team of people that would work behind the scenes to find the money. First line of defense was to save my life, and they did an excellent job. However, so it was like a month, me in the hospital, a whole month, and a month and a half, and they send in their team actually it was 3 months when the team came in there because I had no insurance. They're like, now Mrs. Hunt, I was Mrs. Hunt at that time. They said, you're gonna have to do something because you don't have any insurance. So they send in the Social Security representatives so that I could apply for disability. And the Social Security representative was going over the process, and she was telling me that just in signing up for it, I would have to be labeled disabled permanently. I would always be disabled. And when she said that, I looked at her from my hospital bed and I said, then I'm sorry, I'm not going to apply because I refuse to be disabled for the rest of my life. I'm just down now. I am determined to fight and get my life back where I need it. So I turned her down and she left. So say a week later, they come back to me because the hospital is saying, okay, you racking up these charges, no money, you have to do something. So I explained to them why I said no to the Social Security because they said I had to be disabled permanently. I'm a young woman. I'm fighting for my life. I can restore my life. And they explained that that wasn't true, that it did not have to be permanent. And so I said, well, okay, then send that team back in. My point is this: everything is centered around our mental conditioning. And we should not let anyone tell us or limit us to what we're capable of doing. We may be weak right now in any given area of our lives. That does not mean because I'm weak today in that area, that tomorrow or next week or next year, that I cannot get up and be better. Unfortunately, in our society, we push for that limited thinking. And so, Travis, a part of what we have to do is attack the mindset, the thinking to even our own, to those who are termed disabled. It does not have to be forever. In your case, Travis, is a perfect example because the doctors did say you would never walk. And we got many stories where the medical profession has been wrong in their diagnosis. I do everything that they do. I respect their love for the industry. I respect what they do, but we do have to acknowledge they don't have the final word when it comes to your individual lives. And so that's an area that I want to see us really attack with people suffering with disability, the mindset, because regardless of what has been put on us, regardless of the label that has been put there, we individually determine how far we're going to let that label go. And that is even to the limiting part of, well, I'll be disabled or I want to be disabled because I am right now, to get the funds that are very limited. The whole system in that is designed to not allow you to really move forward. That's why when you get to a certain level, they snatch some of the benefits. We have to train the mind to understand that it's okay, because we have to get a determination that we have the ability to create wealth in whatever form we're gifted to create in. And it's an individual thing. So mindset is key to it all. Don't let society and anyone tell us that we cannot do something. Even as disabled people in any form, it's something about us individually that gives us the power and authority to be creative in ways that no one else will. We are unique individuals, all of us. And so we have to be careful in how we take on the labels and how we accept what is being said to us about our lives.
Yes. Yes, we do. And I want to say, and when I say, and what inspired you to write a book?
Well, because I have been through a lot. That's one. But also as a spiritual person, I was on a trip. After the trip, the host of the trip called me when we got back. And she said to me, Joyce, I don't know if you're writing, but God told me to tell you, you must write because there's a book you have to write. So that was the beginning, because when she spoke those words to me that evening, I received what she said. So you see how powerful it is, how people can speak into your lives. That's why, again, we have to be careful what we receive of people speaking into our lives. When she spoke that, I was open and I received what she said. And I immediately sat down, got quiet, and started asking God, what was it he want me to say? And he gave me all the details. He had me to start with chapter 5 first. So I wrote chapter 5, chapter 6. Then he took me back to the first, second, third, fourth, and fourth, and then 7 and 8. It's only 8 chapters. But I was inspired by the sister telling me that God wanted me to write a book. And it did not take me long to finish that manuscript. It took me longer to get it out on the market, but it didn't take me long to put it together.
Yes, yeah, I feel you because I've written 2 books, Don't Give Up and God's
Yeah.
Gold Mine, and
Yeah.
and I have a workbook coming out for the first book, and I'm working on that right now. So what is so what made me write my book? When I was going through things, I was just journaling.
Yeah.
I was just journaling. And that journal and that journal and that journal and that journal turned to my first book.
Yes.
So when I got finished writing it, God said, "This is your book." I said, "What?"
Yes.
So so like you said, God gives us gifts.
Mhm.
He gives us gifts, and the word says your gift will make room for you, right?
Yes. Yes.
So if we will only use our gift that God gave us, we
Mhm.
would be powerful people.
Yes. I agree.
Be powerful people.
And I think that's what's happening, Travis, particularly as we look in our society, like the shutdown from COVID and even this new strand coming up. I really believe it's forcing us as individuals to start looking for another way. Because I will admit, even for myself, sometimes you can be too complacent, too used to a way things are done, and scared of change. And life is too important. Everything about life, everything about nature is a continuous change. But when you get to us humans, we get stagnant in places. And I think these events that's happening in our world, while it is devastating to some, while it can be overwhelming to others, I believe if we sit still and take a deep breath, that we will find that it's an opportunity to reveal to us what we possess within that we can bring forth and use in the world at large.
I always tell people I'm like that rose that grows in the desert. Like
Mm,
like like even though it's dry,
mm.
I'm that rose that still comes up. The conditions
Mm.
they say that I should not be there.
That's right.
But I'm there. I'm that rose bush. That's growing in the desert. That's what I tell people.
You are. And that is a good illustration. And that also applies to all of us at different levels. Again, what you described for yourself is befitting to the life that you actually have come through. And it's so likewise for everyone else, even if we may not have come through as hard of a process as you, we still all are in our process, and we still all are having to fight through, like you said, that grass or that stem that's fighting through the concrete for an opportunity to live, for an opportunity to just shine and get some of the sunlight. Our lives really is representative of that process.
Yes. And I gotta get my sponsors, okay? Just hold on a second. The mission of Intervision to support and encourage participation of people who are blind and visually impaired into a spiritual community where each individual is encouraged to utilize all the gifts, all the God granted gifts and talents as they journey to His wholeness by
Mm,
mind, body, spirit, and soul.
wow.
And to get involved, their email address is ivawakening@gmail.com. Their phone number is 678-718-7063. They have a prayer call every morning at
Oh, let me get that.
have a prayer call every morning at 6:30, and the number is 712-775-7035, and the access code is 783-542.
Wow. That's powerful. That's a powerful vision statement.
Yeah.
That is amazing. It's definitely something that needs to be spread abroad. It's something that we all need to tap into. I like that.
Yeah. And my next sponsor is SimTech. We provide titles for cars, tractors, houses, motorcycles, and any other in any states. That's my next sponsor, and my next sponsor is Lisa Parks, Director, Image Com Group, Search and Social Content. The website is www.imagecomgroup.com. Their phone number is 678-687-9542 or 470-238-9152.
Awesome.
So those are my sponsors for this podcast.
Awesome.
For this podcast slash show. Because I want this message to get out to the whole wide world.
Yes. I agree.
And if you want to see this broadcast again, you can go to www.don'tgiveupthemovement and click on against all odds,
Wow.
and then you can see this again. Or you can go to Don't give up the YouTube page. Don't give up the movement. Okay. And also on my website, it's also in podcast form too. So if you like podcasts, the podcast is called "Don't Give an Hour." The podcast is called "Don't Give an Hour." It's on Spotify. It's when I say and I have several shows, several podcasts to lift your spirits, to to actually to actually give us the strength and the fortitude to keep pushing through the
Yeah.
hard times. And I'm asking you to please subscribe to the YouTube page because there are a lot of that because we click on podcast, you see the podcast. I want to say there are some mentions on there to actually lift the spirits. So thank you, Miss Rogers, for being my guest. I am
Thank you.
so elated. I am so overjoyed because I've seen your story. I've seen you come up. That's why I chose you for this podcast against all odds show because you are a person who I know that you are not giving up.
Amen.
I know you're not giving up.
Amen.
And I'm so glad that God allowed you and gave you the strength and the power and the fortitude to push forward.
Yes.
Because we need to see examples like that, especially in a time like this.
Amen.
Especially in a
Amen.
time like this when we see people dying,
Yes.
when
Yes.
when 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 people losing their homes right now,
Yes. Yes.
losing jobs right now. We need to hear some good news of
Yes.
somebody who's overcame an issue in their lives.
Yes.
And if you can overcome that, if I can overcome what I overcame, that tells them that they can overcome too.
They can do it too. Yes. And that's what my book is all about. The reason for writing my life story is so that the next person can bear witness. If I could come through it, how much more can they come through as well? And so, Travis, I do thank you for taking the time to invite me, for loving me to invite me. You were the best representative in the world. I promise you, honestly, you were a major part to my final stage of getting back up and getting back to work and getting back out there in life. And if you weren't there, if you were a missing piece, God only knows where I would be. So thank you so much for your broadcast, this Don't Give Up hour, but also for Against All Odds. That is a powerful, powerful statement. Against all odds. And I would like to just give honor to our ancestors with that word because they did it against all odds. We can imagine what they went through, and it allowed for us to be here. So I recognize that what I've endured doesn't even measure up to what those who came before me endured, just that we would have an opportunity in this season. So thank you so much. And for those who are listening, I encourage you to know, no matter where you are in your journey, understand that there is hope. No matter what you're experiencing in your journey, I want you to know that you know that you know that you know. If you don't have anything else to hold on to the truth that there is hope. Help is on the way. Thank you and good afternoon.
And do not give on your dreams, hopes, and visions.
Mm.
Keep striving,
Yes.
keep pushing, because they will come true. They
Yes.
they 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 don't come to you. But you see, sometimes we gotta go through some stuff. Sometimes they're called life lessons.
Oh, yes, they are.
Life lessons.
And that's all it is, Travis. They're life lessons. I've now come to understand that I refer to everything that happens to me, no matter how bad, as a lesson of life. And I'm understanding that it didn't come necessarily to take me out, it came that I might become better.
Yes. So all of you out there, have a great day. Remember, don't give up. Don't
Don't give
give
up.
up. Don't give up.
Don't
Don't